Good morning. It's Sunday, September 15th, and I'm going to start working on this back section today, but I thought I would give a quick overview of where we're at right now. A couple of late night beading sessions, and I've gotten pretty far. I've been working mostly, I think, over in this area and over to the side. So that's filling in really nicely. I'm loving it so far. Super tight, tightening up the webs. And this is the ring light that I use. I don't need to turn it on this morning. And I'll just set the phone right there and magnify in. Maybe not that far, eh? When I do that, at least I can bring the light up away so I've got room to work. All right. I need to grab some more size 6s. Let's see here. I got these size 6 Duracoats at 2 different times from 2 different suppliers, and I am noticing that there is just the slightest difference, which is to kind of be expected from dye lots or whatever you would like to call those in the beading world. So I'm just going to kind of mix them up on my bead mat as we go. Okay. Like I said, I've gotten a lot of work done the last couple of nights. I've just not been able to fall asleep right away, so I just get up and put in a couple minutes, and it adds up. We went out fishing yesterday, caught our limit of crappie, and nabbed a couple of pike, which is becoming one of my favorite fish. I gotta look up, I'd like to grill it, I think, this time, so I'm gonna look up a recipe to maybe marinate and grill. I should do that this morning. We're gonna head out again, I think. Not sure yet. We might go out to the same lake we've been fishing past couple of times, or we might head out to a new lake that's got supposedly a lot of walleye in it. A lot of people like the walleye. It's fine. We caught one a couple weeks ago and pan-fried it for breakfast. I don't know, the pike is super good. I really like it. It's been pretty overcast and gray. Perfect temperatures though, and the bugs have disappeared. Hopefully for the rest of the season. God, they were bad this year. With all the rain that we got early on. Whew. It was thick out there. But we didn't get the horse flies like we have in the past. Fine by me, because those things bite like the dickens. I think I did get bit only once this year, which is better than years past. I had a question on, I think it might have been the last video, somebody that was interested in doing something similar to this, to a skull that they have. And I'm not sure if this person is a beater or not, but I kind of figure that if one person has a question, then 10 people have the same. So in case you don't read the comments or don't go back to that, or don't go back to that video, I do have videos up from when I first started this project 4 years ago, and it's showing like this. I think it was actually, I started right here, and so it shows the beginning of this and how you basically start freeform over an object. So you can go back to that. Also, if you're not a beater, not that this is what I would call advanced in any way, but you do need to know how to bead. And you need to know the fundamentals of peyote stitch. Not the, what I would term, what you need to learn is the modern peyote stitch. And also knowledge of brick stitch is helpful too. Sometimes I do have to utilize that technique. But having a grasp of even count, odd count, working with different sizes, tubular, very helpful. And just like, you kind of have to learn how beads fit together, and that way you're not constantly taking work apart. Because if you don't know how beads fit together, it could be a long process. Not that there aren't times I have to pull beads out, but I have an idea when I'm picking up the beads what's gonna work and what's not before I make that stitch. So that's really a class is always helpful if you're in, an area that has a bead store still, or there's tons of videos online, tons of them. I'm trying to remember, I do have a tutorial in a book called Beading Across America. I can't even remember what year that was that came out, but it's got some information on how I work a freeform bracelet. And at the time I was living in Iowa, so my section is representing Iowa. I'm kind of reinforcing this area here where there's the large hole. Making this as strong and as tight as I can. I have a little knot in my thread. So I was listening back to the last, I do listen to it before I post it, but just to check noise and that kind of thing. But I was listening to it yesterday in my last video, and I kind of feel like I was kind of on a rant. Things were not great, right? But kind of forget sometimes why I do this work, and I do find it very, typically very meditative and good for my mindset, but sometimes I let the outside stuff get to me. So this weekend's really been about refocusing that energy. Getting back to the reason why I'm doing this, right? Which made me start to think about maybe trying to get into one show next year with just my sculptural pieces. But I don't know. Like I've said before, it's really hard on your work when you take it and show it outside. You never know what the weather's going to be like. You get somebody with a rambunctious kid knocking things over, whatever the case may be. That would be rough. So I don't know, but it's something I've been thinking about. Of all the shows that I do, I feel like the one with the most promise for this would be Art Fair on the Square in Madison. I think that would have possibly the audience for it. Every time I've been to that show or shown at that show, I see the sculptors seem to do pretty well. Like, I see them loading stuff up at the end of their days into people's cars. Or, I was next to somebody who, that first, like the Saturday night, was delivering pieces all over Madison. So, I don't know, I definitely am going to, think about that, because it would require probably need to make some pedestals. Yeah, it's not I mean, it's an expensive show to do, but I've always had such a good time there. And the crowds are always just so appreciative and so great. I really missed not going to that show in one capacity or the other this year. Plus, there's like the most delicious pasties I've ever had in my entire life are right on the corner where my booth usually is. It's called Teddy Budger's, and if you're ever there, oh my god, you gotta go. They make like I think it's a chicken pot pie variety. And they do some breakfast ones. They do excellent vegetarian. Oh my gosh, so good. Oh, I think it was like a Mexican corn, egg, and something. Oh my gosh, just thinking about it. So good. At any rate, so that's kind of, I don't know, kind of what I'm thinking about. it's a ways away. I don't think their call for artists doesn't happen until like maybe sometime in January or February. It might be a little bit later. I can't remember. But I'll have to keep my eyes out for that. Because I really can't think of another show, and maybe somebody who's watching this would have some ideas of where I could go. And, I mean, who knows what the future will look like if I'm even able to get away to do something like that. Depending upon the caregiving situation I'll be in, who knows. But I don't know, the thought of, the more I think about not doing shows with my jewelry, at least, I guess I should be a little bit more descriptive with what I'm saying here. With my jewelry, kind of makes me happy, because gosh, just so much happens when you're on the road with your work. And I was thinking last night while I was working on this that it'd be nice not to have to worry about weather and where having to do any repairs. I noticed on my last video too, you could hear the traffic. The way that the sound travels up here is just incredible. We're a ways from the highway, which is what I think you can hear. And I mean, I can see Lake Superior out my window. And you can't hear that at all, but if we were just to walk down the hill, you would hear, if it's a tumultuous water, you would be able to hear it clear as a bell if you just walked, I don't know, 50 yards down the way. But the traffic you can hear just clear, clear, clear. Which it is kind of right now we're at the end of the heavy camping and hiking season, that we get a little bit of a lull, but once the colors start turning, I think it's even worse for about a week and a half or 2 weeks. Usually here towards the end of September into October. It's kind of hard to tell because we had such a wet spring. I mean, definitely colors are changing, but the number of people out on the Superior hiking trail, I mean, the number of cars spilling out onto the highways and county roads and stuff, it's incredible. So many people up here, and I don't like it. I love the winter time for one reason up here, and that is because there are no people. I mean, it's just a ghost town, and I love it. You can walk the dog without worrying about stupid people with their off-leash animals that aren't socialized, and oh, I love it so much. And I guess it's one of the great things about going through menopause is that the cold, what cold? I'll last towards the end of winter. I don't think I wore my coat at all. I have a theory. I love this show Alone. I have a theory that if it was all menopausal women out there, that they would hands down be out there for months. They wouldn't lose any weight. even if they didn't eat the entire time they were out there, they'd only get stronger. And they wouldn't have to worry about cold or anything else, because their bodies are set up for it. I swear they are. Alright, let's see what, oh my goodness, we're at 20 some minutes. I think I'm gonna call it for this video and continue on. If you have any other questions, feel free to, sometimes I forget how to turn on the comments, but I think it has something to do with, is it safe? I think the reason that they'll turn off comments is if you mark the content not safe for children or something like that. So sometimes I mark that, but I'll try and leave the comments open, at least until I start seeing some dumbass things, which you never know who's going to trip across your video and do something dumb. But, alright, end it right there, I think, for right now. I'm going to go get myself ready for possible fishing this morning. Catch y'all later.